went to the dinner with the Queen and
I was with the Queen and the President just last week, yes. For an American, I kept trying to figure out why am I here? What? How did this? Did I win a ticket? Is this Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Excuse me, lady, do you run this place? There we are. We were off, and there's my white tie and tails.
You look very smart.
That is not a rental, by the way. They had a powder blue, and I said, let me go with the traditional black. And everybody's, it's kind of like on a first-name basis.
Did you meet her?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, indeed.
And chitty-chat, or...?
I talked about doing Shakespeare when I was, that was how I got my start in the United States, doing Shakespeare. And we compared notes on that. She did say this: we love to go to the theater. I'm not going to do an imitation of the Queen. So if I fall into that, you cut it. You cut it. You take it out of the show. And she said, we love going to the theater. And my sister, oh, we love to go to the theater. And my sister could go to the theater and hear a song once and then come home. And I said, play it on the piano? And she said, yes. That moment with Her Majesty, who used to call Her Majesty first, and then you call ma'am.
You've met the Queen.
I have.
Yes. Here you are getting, is it MBE you got?
I got the MBE, yeah.
MBE. So now, does she know...
right?
Yeah. Did the Queen know anything about Formula One?
She actually did. When she was talking to me there and she said, we watch you. But the best thing is I got invited back like a year later for lunch.
You made an impression?
With a group. Oh. There was about 8 of us. And I turned up after the Brazilian Grand Prix, came back and walked in, saw the seating plan, and I was sat right next to her. She spoke to the guy next to her for like five minutes, and then she spent the rest of the time talking to me.
Yes, you won in the
It was really, really cool.
Bake Off, you know, it opened all these doors to you and all sorts of honours and things. And but one of the biggest thrills must have been when you got to bake the Queen's birthday cake.
Yeah.
There you are.
She's the one person that I met that made me the most nervous.
In fairness, yes.
Like, you never... Like, my dad now introduces me as, this is the daughter that made the cake for the Queen. I don't even have a name anymore. So he was very proud. But I didn't know Prince Philip was there. So he saunters around, I'm trying to talk, muffling all my words, and then he comes up and he said, and the Queen then introduced me to Prince Philip. I was like, get in! You know you made it when she introduces you to somebody else. And then she said, this is the young lady who won the baking competition. And I was, at this point, I was cloud 9, and he comes up and goes, yes, dear, I know who she is, but what flavour's the cake? I could not care less.
Since we last saw you on the show, much excitement, hoopla, hurrah, you've got your OBE from the Queen.
I have.
Oh, you look about 12.
Oh, well, it must have been amazing. Did your family go and everything?
She thought she was giving it to Tony Blair.
Did she? Did that come up?
Well, she did say to me, because she... I mean, this is so extraordinary thing. We drove into Buckingham Palace. I went with my...
Oh, there's you with the other...
With the other Queen, the fake
Helen.
Queen, yeah.
Yeah.
We drove in there, and it was strangely like déjà vu, because we'd recreated it for the film The Queen. So I sort of felt quite at home there. Like, yeah, I've done this before, yeah. And then you get in front of the actual Queen, and there's all these rules that you have, you know, the etiquette and stuff. You have to go in, you must never turn your back on the Queen and all this kind of stuff. So I turn up, and she's got someone next to her going, this is Michael Sheen, he's a Herbert from Wales, he's an actor. He played Blair in that film about you. And you come up, and she comes forward, and she sort of shakes your hand, and then she sort of puts the medal on you, and then she said, so what are you doing next? And when I told my agent in America that, she went, oh, everyone's an agent. What are you doing next? And I thought, the truth was that I was about to do a film called Tron. But I thought that probably wouldn't go down well with the Queen. She might not get that, and I've only got a short amount of time to talk to her. So I said, I'm doing another film about ex-Prime Minister Blair, and this one's about his relationship with President Bill Clinton. And she got a little sort of sparkle in her eye, and she went, ooh, that must be awfully difficult.
That you seem to have lived most of your life wanting to meet the Queen.
Well, it was, yeah, when I was quite young, I saw the Royal Variety Show, and the comedian that was on had met the Queen. So I assumed that meant you must be really funny to meet the Queen. You have to be, like she says, he's funny enough to meet me. I thought that's how it worked.
Did it command you to be funny?
Yes, in the Royal Command performance, they literally command you, you know. Then finally, this year, and it genuinely was true that at the end of the book, I was trying to think of a way of ending the book, and I'd mentioned wanting to meet the Queen in the book. And literally, as I was trying to finish it, I got a phone call to ask if I could do the Jubilee concert this year and host it. And I thought, this would be great, I get to meet the Queen. And there was so much pressure. Everyone, I mean, we were all nervous about doing the gig, but I was more nervous about ending my book. So I had to meet the Queen. And I had to get the photo. And so that she come, and they chucked out everybody that wasn't... It was such a small room. So the person who was going to take the photograph couldn't take it. So she said, I'm being thrown out, it's just you lot that were in the show. So she hands me the camera, and I see Alfie Boe, the opera singer, and I go, Alfie, mate, don't mess this up. There's the camera. Make sure that when you've got to get this shot.
Yeah.
And I think if you have a look at the shot, it's not exactly what you call...
Everyone's in it.
Everyone's in it. I'll tell you what.
Recognise that bloke.
You recognise the bloke? Yeah. I was going to rechange the whole story. I didn't want to meet the Queen. I always wanted to meet Kylie Minogue and Lenny Henry. I thought then it might work. So, but bless him, I didn't give him much warning. I said, press that button and just hope for the best, and he did.
And did she talk to you, or you just met her?
She was great, actually. She was really... She did this thing with Gary Barlow and Kylie. It was her job to show around everybody. And I think Kylie didn't know who I was and panicked and just backed off because she didn't want to introduce me. And so the Queen was left stranded on her own. And we were making polite conversation around. I saw the Queen look around as if to go, usually I'm dragged away at this point, but no one's coming together.
Famously, you were very close to Princess Diana. But even before that, you... I think you played...
At Windsor Castle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a very nervy experience because Ray Cooper, my percussion player, and myself played. And suddenly you looked in the balcony and these are all gold chairs and suddenly they fill up and you think, oh, God. We played and I came down, I changed, and I was in a ballroom with a band and Diana Spencer, she wasn't Prince Charles's wife then, and she said, do you want to dance? So, I can't dance anyway, but we did a faux Charleston, and then we went into dinner, and then it was a buffet dinner, and then Princess Anne said, shall we go to the disco? And I said, fine, it's the quietest disco you've ever heard. And I danced with Princess Anne thinking, you know what, I was born in a council house, it's very surreal. And then the Queen came in, and she said, can we join you? And I said, say, no, fuck off, right? And they segued into Rock Around the Clock by Bill Haley, and I thought, this is ridiculous, because the Queen's going like, dun, 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 dun. And it was one of the most, to that point, surreal moments of my life, because, you know, after being born in a council house in Pinner, and you think, and remembering Rock Around the Clock by Bill Haley, the odds of you dancing with the Queen at Windsor Castle that were very, very long at that point.
You came to the set of Game of Thrones?
The Queen?
Yes! In your face! Yeah, we've got a picture of her there. She is.
So they kept trying to push her to sit down on the throne, and we kept getting told the same thing, which is she's not allowed to sit on other thrones, fictional or otherwise.
I love there's a thing for that. Yeah, that can't happen, I'm afraid. Did you talk to her?
I did, yes. Yeah.
And?
She was delightul.
But what did you talk about? What?
Not much. She asked me a question, and I said, yes, ma'am, and then she moved on.
Well, now we have to know. What did she ask you? It could have been anything.
And what do you do on this production?
You said yes.
And I said yes. I said, I'm an actor, ma'am. And she said, oh, wonderful, and moved on. And then they asked if she wanted to sit on the throne, and she said, looks very uncomfortable. Moved on.